Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have a battle of Bant on Bant from our Team Trio Open. Sorry, our Unified Legacy Open. That is basically a Unified Legacy format. Means that if you smashed all three decks together from the team, it would make one giant Legacy legal deck. So no more than four of any card. And that makes some interesting deck building considerations. One Force of Will deck, only one potential Dark Ritual deck, and if you're playing a combo deck, if your whole team is playing combo, only one of them is going to get paired up against a Force of Will deck, for example. So really interesting as far as how are you going to make that deck building decision based off of that limitation. And I really enjoy that aspect about it. I do enjoy running these tournaments. Currently, the rest of the year, we're going to be doing Team Trio, but we'll get another Unified Legacy going. We've got a Sylvan Library sticking for, I can't quite make out their name. It's something Hub Surfers. We've got Icefang Kodal on the other side. Icefang, incremental card advantage. I mean, this is going to be a super grindy matchup. We have a match that went almost, I mean, like 25 minutes game one. One of these other Bant on Bant action goes. Icefang chipping in there. Does not take much to undo damage from Icefang. A single casting of Euro wipes out 3 attack steps. Showing up gets another 3. I mean, a lot of potential life gain in this matchup. Incredibly grindy. Sylvan Library work very well with Abundant Harvest. Clearing the top of the library, potentially of lands or spells, whatever's less desirable. Got a Dress Down. Dress Down the need ability. Plus Cantrip. I mean, the card does some serious work. And Euro. Goes up as a 3-mana 6/6. Thanks to the Dress Down. Words to Plowshares. Pair of the Euro. Icefang goes up, and another sword's ready to prevent damage. Really trying to preserve this 1/1 body, apparently. Icefang really carrying a lot of weight, doing 1 damage a turn. Does stop Sylvan Library from just drawing like 4 extra cards and paying 16 life. Like, you don't actually want to just die to an Icefang. There's that. Or Euro. Matchup. See a lot of basics other side of the board. Generally, you don't have to worry about non-basics. On Bant can play back to basics. I don't know that it's strategically the right play. Honestly, the deck is so grindy. I don't know that I would consider that a particularly wise plan post board. I'm not sure how many games you'll actually be able to win that are that slow. It looks like I've got the cards from the last game queued up. Force of Negation, trying to stop a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Just did commentary on a different Bant mirror match. This one looking a lot more aggressive with these Icefangs chipping in there. Jace gets exiled by Force of Negation. ponder. So many decisions in this matchup. Really is grindy. Doesn't seem to be any like game-winning bombs like there were in certain days of old. Euro is not like the most effective card. He's just grindy. Raw engine available there with Caracas. Play Euro for his oak, so to speak, cost. A prismatic ending clears the Sylvan. Towards the plowshares, I don't enjoy that line. Wow, actually going to let that resolve and exile the Euro. That is surprising. Mind Sculptor. Force of Will, Force of Negation, Force of Will back. No Jace for you. Ice Fangs continue the beatings. Ooh, an Endurance. Actually follow that Endurance. Was that Endurance invoked? I didn't actually see what would have handled it. It's in the graveyard. Endurance was. That was a Euro or something. One of these. Double blue. Out to Fury. Bounce the Sylvan. Doesn't feel great. Sylvan's just coming right back down anyways. Fury's getting cleared. Ice Fang of his own. Tracking back. Don't have the life totals on screen. That will be fixed in the near future. Matches. Total content of Euro, drawing a card, making a land drop. Sacked, or will he be bounced by Caracas? Attempts to bounce him. Response, Swords to Plowshares. Euro is out of there. That is how you'd expect that to go more often than not. Value, but no graveyard. Draw engine. Caracas does play really well with your own Euros, your opponent's Euros. Pesky monkeys. Caracas, definitely a lot more utility now than most points, if not ever. See, I'm trying to think of a time where Caracas has actually been better. Nothing really comes to mind. Like, Surfers scooping it up there, feeling that they are way too far behind in this effort. Tournament management, really one of the more important differences between just being good at winning matches or even games of Magic and winning tournaments. I'll tell you, probably the mistakes that I see the most. Of course, there are little technical errors which everybody can recognize, inefficient mana usage, suboptimal sequencing, that type of stuff. But really making the risk reward ratio analysis and scooping a game that you still have a chance to win is probably one of the more interesting aspects. Certainly the one that I would say there's the most disagreement on. Partially because a newer player to tournaments won't even necessarily consider the option of scooping if they still have, say, a 10% chance to win it. There's just no way that they're going to scoop, play it out to the bitter end, potentially end up in a situation where they end up just losing the match because of that. It keeps that pressure going for the full 50 minutes and ends up winning just a few minutes left in the round. What's your play now? A endurance. If you win that game, it's great, but 90+% of the time, they're going to end up winning it. And that's an evolving statistic, too. The longer it goes, very often your percentage is going to essentially turn to zero. Maybe you have 10% chance if you draw something over the next 4 turns, but then after that, it's almost an impossibility for you to. Still, some people will not turn that corner and recognize just how unlikely it is that you're going to find a way out of the game. We got swords flying around here. Durance and Ice Fang Kotal both going to exile. Just a meager 1-1 left to do damage for the Surfers. Apes of Wrath are up a game. Abundant Harvest. Good at filling the graveyard, finding lands. Like, it's really good at finding lands. Great that it doesn't have to. Just a solid cantrip. I'd argue it's not on the same level as Ponder and Brain. It would seem to be the case that it is stronger than Preordain. These type of build. Plus, it gives you more green cards that can potentially evoke Endurance in those matchups where you need Endurance to be able to show up at instant speed and disrupt your opponent's graveyard. Endurance so far doing the majority of the physical damage. Planeswalkers and players. Actually, I guess I might be thinking of the last match. I guess Ice Fang's actually done a ton of damage so far here. Snow creature. Easy to forget that he's a snow creature because he doesn't have snow in the mana cost. I feel like most of the snow permanents had a snow mana. Oh. Might just be. Fury. Endurance and response. Last chances for Teferi. Or 4 instant speed responses once Teferi's out. What's he going to do? Does he bounce the Endurance here? Hopefully he's got some removal. Pretty bad if he just bounces Endurance and here he goes to the bin. Ice Fang. Either way, Teferi's not surviving without more help. Here's a Euro. Bounces the Endurance. Yeah, he's going to die. Could have ticked up. Survived 1 attack. Not getting your card drawing out of that anytime soon. Here's another Endurance. Force of Will, pitching Force of Negation, which of course can't actually stop Endurance as it's a creature. And a Flusterstorm backup. Backbreaking counter, which is often uncastable. Really is just for your opponent's counter spells and removal. Not going to be able to hit creatures or planeswalkers. Flusterstorm going all out on this Force of Will. The Ape's not going to be able to pay all the mana for it, so instead, another Force of Will. This one pitching their own Flusterstorm. Flusterstorming a Flusterstorm is super complicated. Essentially just a Force Spike with Storm. Depending on how much mana is available, you can really complicated stacks. you're ever in that situation, you may want your opponent to play it out, as there's a lot of ways they can screw that up. Trying to flusterstorm, people definitely end up signing the wrong targets and not realizing who can pay mana for which copies, and be comical. Veil of Summer. Just thrown out there. That is not what that card needs to be doing. Ooh, and it looked like spicy line there. Did Teferi just bounce Ice Fang? I think it did. I think Teferi bounced Ice Fang. Followed up by a Ponder. Ice Fang can just come right back down. Got Euro. Does pose a potential threat. Even just one card in the graveyard. You can look at trading with Ice Fang. Ice Fang being in hand actually more dangerous than anywhere else it could be. Carpet of Flowers is going to generate a lot of mana. Now an Endurance. Getting rid of the Surfer's graveyard. That's a decision. Hopefully more Ice Fangs available. Being able to flash that in during the attack step eliminates the potential for pre-combat main phase removal, such as Swords to Plowshares or Prismatic Ending on this Ice Fang. One of these players able to play at instant speed currently. Very kind of the only redeeming part of the Surfer's board. Oh, here we go. Prismatic Ending at instant speed takes out Euro. Ice Fang trades with Endurance, and Teferi sticks around. Picks up. Now a Jace the Mind Sculptor, and that is going to do it for Apes of Wrath, facing down Teferi and Jace. It's on to the next one. You're going to try and fit in a game 3. That was a overwhelming board. 2 powerful Planeswalkers versus a completely empty board aside from mana. Really interesting matchup here. Game 3. Change of pace compared to the last Bant Mirror, which was one very, very long game. This is 3 games, very back and forth. Playmats here, of course. Oath of Druids on the left. On the right is Danse Macabre. Mat that I made for the champions. Give them different stations of medieval life. It's a fun series. A lot of playmats throughout the rest of the year. All of our open series champions get one of them. The event. Basic islands building up for the Surfers, and now Euro. Ooh, Hull Breacher. This is the damaging card right here. Not where you want to be. Force of Will, pitching Flusterstorm. Force a Negation. This guy sticks. Oh no. So Euro evoked for very little effect. Just giving the Surfers a treasure. This Pirate turning sideways. This is a Wrecking Ball Magic card in this matchup. Brainstorm is now absolutely terrible. Ponder, really a severe drawback to playing it. You'll be able to rearrange your library, but you're not going to get a card out of it. And we got a 2 mana Prismatic ending, going after the Sylvan, leaving this Hull Breacher alive. This smells like an Ice Fang. Teferi bounces nothing. Now a Ponder. Apparently no Ice Fang. Teferi just make sure, really. Play Fearless Magic when you know your opponent can't have any type of instant speed responses. Forces your opponent to be playing everything at their speed. Force a negation, taking out the Teferi. 3-mana Planeswalker, blanking counter spells. Hull Breacher, blanking card drawing. Man, this is a tough spot. We've got Jace the Mind Sculptor. It sticks a Fate Seal on himself. Oh, and an end of turn endurance. That is going to team up with the Hull Breacher to clear the Jace and eliminate any hope there as the Surfers win a very entertaining 3-game match of Bant on Bant.